also like to not plan too much. I'm working from several photographs here as well as an iPad sketch. I've got one photograph that I took here and the light wasn't great, so I've got another reference for exactly the way that the hills go. The next thing I want to say before I put any oil paint on this canvas is I want to talk to you about my palette. I've got a brand new palette today because if I brought you my palette that I'm using at the moment, I've been using it for a year, and it's much easier to explain the concepts if I show you this palette. I've got blacks here, whites here, and I've got a colour wheel here. The colour wheel behind me is the colour wheel that I use. It's not the colour wheel that everyone uses, and it's not the colour wheel that everyone's taught in schools and colleges. I teach colour in college, and I don't teach that colour wheel because it's not the syllabus. I do tell the students that there is the truth out there, and that is the truth. I've got a range of clothing out there that says "Know the Truth" on it, and it's got a little signature on it, and it has this colour wheel on it, which I have devised. It's not a new concept, but what it is called generally is the CMY wheel. So I have with me yellow at the top, cyan here, for cyan, try cerulean blue. But I've also got cyan paints. I have quinacridone rose, which I use a lot of. Quinacridone rose, magenta, basically. Or quinacridone red, it's called. But it isn't red, because magenta isn't red. Magenta is as different a colour from red as green is from yellow. Okay, and I've got some oranges here. And it kind of moves round in a wheel. I've got phthalo blue here because it's a difficult colour to mix, and you can mix with phthalo blue quite nicely. The mixed green from yellow and cyan is nice and bright. If anyone's struggled mixing a green, it's because you're mixing blue and yellow to get green. Blue and yellow don't make green. Cyan and yellow make green. Okay, if you don't believe me, watch my video, The Truth About the Colour Wheel. That one as well is quite popular online. So what I'm going to attempt to do is set my darks for my cloud cover. You probably see from my underpainting where I'm going to concentrate the light. I can break up the headland here, the coolings, by creating my cloud right on top. I want to reveal the coolings by stopping the cloud and cover them up by bleeding the cloud into the distant hill. And by doing that, if you notice shadows in the sky do tend to come up roughly the same kind of hues as a distant headland. There's very little difference in hues sometimes back there. You generally don't get a lot of colour contrasts the further you go back. But as I'll explain later on, you can manipulate those colour contrasts with the use of glazing. Okay, my last exhibition was called Transition, and it was called Transition for many reasons. I like to always keep a kind of interesting palette by transitioning the colour and doing it on a regular basis, so you're not boring someone senseless with the same shade of purple. A lot of people when painting can be quite lazy with the mixing. If you mix your purple rather than using dioxazine purple, which I have actually got on my palette, if you mix it, then you've got the two colours that you mixed it from, and you can make variations of that colour.
Are you using a medium while you're mixing your colours?
Not while I'm mixing the colours actually. I'm using a medium at the moment on the brush, so I'll be dipping the brush. I have medium in bottles so I can squirt them straight onto the palette. So if I lift that bottle and sort of squirt it straight on, it's probably because I don't want to clean my brush. That's probably the reason. As soon as you put a dirty brush in the dippers, this is a little thing I've got here. I've also got these little squirty things for less, but actually these are better for bigger paintings. So I will be using medium because the painting is coated in a medium. It starts to mix with that medium when it goes on the canvas as well. So you can put your bare colour on. I must say, in my mediums video, I do explain the concept of fat on lean. This is fat, this is lean. Fat and lean concept means fat is all medium or oil. In oil paint you have thinners and oils. I never condone only using thinners. There's plenty of painters that only use thinners and they tell me, oh, I've not had a problem. But your paintings will be chalky, they won't have depth of colour, and they will probably be quite brittle, and within time they will crack sooner. So the concept of fat on lean is that the oily paint goes on at the end, and even if your underlayers are quite turpsy, quite lean, they absorb the oil from the latter layers. So, but the way I work is I use quick drying mediums, which kind of means that you can bend the rules there. Because it's so quick drying, the kind of alkyd mediums, like liquid is an alkyd medium, it kind of dries so fast, and when these mediums dry, they dry very elastic-like, so there's give in them. When a turpsy paint dries, it dries brittle. And when a paint that dries brittle dries on top of an elastic layer, even if the elastic layer has actually dried quite a lot, you still get cracking there because you've got a brittle layer on top of a pliable layer, if you want. To avoid any of that, just use quick drying mediums. If you don't want to use quick drying mediums, just beware that you've got to work fat on lean. Pre-mix in containers like that, you can't go wrong because you just lift the bottle at the right stage of the painting. Obviously, if you're painting alla prima, these things don't really matter so much. But if you're using layered paint, you need to be aware of these things. I'll make it on before. Now I'm going to do a thing. I'm just going to get a little bit of medium on here, and I'm going to just reveal the hills here, rather than paint them in. And I'm going to try and get a kind of lighter shade up here. Compositionally, I've got the coolants here, I've got the farm underneath, and I've got the water underneath that. I'm all kind of down here, so I've got to bear in mind that I want to do something quite dynamic over here. Whatever marks that I make down here, I don't want to make them too horizontal. For any kind of dynamic composition, you want an imbalance. You do want an off-center thing, you want a weight on one side, but you need to balance the weight on one side with something else. So if you've got a lot of interest right round the left-hand side, you've got to do, you don't need to put a boat over here. You don't need to put a prominent cloud over here. You just need to do something that holds the eye. And generally, I talk about speed that the eye moves across a canvas. I can manipulate the speed that someone looks across this canvas through the gesture of the brush that I put on it. So if it's a quick, light stroke of the brush, it's a very quick movement of the viewer's eye across the canvas. So I probably want quite a quick movement across the canvas over here to settle over here, and then I probably want some sort of detailing here, not a huge amount, but enough to hold your eye into the painting. So that's all in the head before I start, but I reserve the right to change my plans at any stage, which is always a good thing. I think that's always a good thing, to be able to say, I don't care, I'm just gonna, that's not set in stone. just yet. If at this stage I got bogged down with the detail in that farm, if I get the rest of the painting wrong, I've wasted my time doing it. I like the philosophy of start like a bricklayer, finish like a jeweller. So, on that note, I will start laying the bricks.